much right now, dude.
Do what? You're good. You're all good. Well, we're rolling, man. So,
Okay, go ahead.
Welcome to Season 2, Episode 17 of Bite Worthy. It's the show where I take stand-up comedians, both famous and local, everywhere in between, out to their food of choice or restaurant of choice, and then I ask them questions about life and food and comedy. You know, farts, dicks, whatever makes us laugh. Yeah. Biting material is stealing material, which we don't do, but a bite-worthy comic is a comedian that either has jokes, their mannerisms, like their, you know, a catchphrase or something that is worth stealing. And today I have Atlanta-based actor and stand-up comedian Alex Turner. Alex Turner. Buddy, I'm glad. I like your joke writing. We've been on shows together a fair amount, and I'm going to get into it. Specific first question: what is the best Western movie? You know why I'm asking this, but yes, what's the best Western like? Because there's the good and the bad, the ugly.
I was
there's
gonna say that,
Tombstone.
yeah.
Good. I mean, it's classic. That standoff is great.
Yeah.
Ecstasy of Gold. Metallica even did it. It's great. Tombstone's good. Mm-hmm. The Unforgiven is awesome.
Yeah.
The Quick and the Dead is kind of, it's silly, but it's like serious, but kind of campy, you know?
You know, the new age westerns aren't bad. Like what Tarantino's doing is good for the genre, because we got to make these things live on, you know. And I don't know many other people.
They're good. They're a good kind of movie. One of my favorite comedies is actually a Western, and it's called They Call Me Trinity. Okay. And it's with Bud Spencer and Terrence Hill, combo that they used to do. They're like the Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis of spaghetti westerns. Yeah. And this movie is so funny. And
actually, you know what my favorite Western is?
What?
Bonanza. No, I'm just kidding.
Bonanza.
No, it's not Bonanza.
All the old Cartwrights.
Sorry, keep going with it.
And so, like, I like the fact that it had Western and comedy, because Westerns done by Italians is like kind of what I grew up with. You know, my grandpa would watch a lot of John Wayne. You know, a lot of those Paul Newman.
Yeah.
You know, Robert Redford kind of. I like that era.
Yeah.
It was a good one. So let me ask you, who was more fun to play, Skinny Bill or Flying Fingers Flanagan? Because they're both funny characters.
They both had their perks. Like the second one, the flying, I got to be more kind of
silly.
Yeah, silly. More what do they call it? Improv with it. I was improvising all the time.
I can hear you thinking on your feet in that one.
So that was a good. I think Skinny. That was an exercise. You know, Flying Fingers Flanagan was an exercise.
Yeah.
It was an exercise in improv, and it was a hell of a lot of fun to do. But Skinny Bill, nothing beats that character.
Dude, Skinny Bill is so funny.
Yeah, I mean, my buddy who I work closely with, he's full into the film scene now. Hardly talk to this guy anymore.
I watched it. It was a good little flick.
But he had me on my toes for that one. I mean, we rehearsed a lot.
Well, Hermano.
Yeah, it got to the point where I was doing the character on set a lot of times.
Really?
Like, yeah, because
you're just in the character.
Yeah, what do they call it? That method
acting.
Method acting. Yeah,
you became Skinny Bill.
Yeah, when you're so young and acting, you don't know what you're gonna do yet. And I'm like, let's try. Like, why? If I'm gonna do it now, if I'm gonna make an ass of myself, why not try method acting early on and see if.
Fuck it.
And it was fun, honestly, but I could tell I was getting on people's nerves on the set.
Well, you know what? Skinny Bill would.
Yeah.
So you did it right.
Because they were asking me genuine questions like Alex would know, and I'm answering them as Skinny Bill.
Shit, I don't know. It's very funny.
Like,
son of a
bitch.
bitch.
Damn question.
Yeah, son of a bitch. Bitch. That's how you'd say it.
Bitch.
We do a lot of mics. I mean, we perform at a lot of shows, and we're even filming at a bar. So like we do mics at bars, we do shows at bars. We'll filming at a nice tavern bar. What's the with typical bar fare? Like, what's your go-to bar food? Like every menu, I get this. Is it mott sticks? Is it a burger?
Nachos is up there.
Nachos is. Well, I watch Taste Buds and nachos versus sushi, and I was like, ooh, I love both of those equally because nachos, a good plate of nachos. I mean, bad nachos. How bad are they?
You want to know something crazy? I just had sushi for the first time ever.
No, welcome to the club.
Yeah. And I'm gonna have to scrap a joke because of it now. I used to have a joke about never eating sushi, and that I would go to my grave. That's kind of the premise of it.
Yeah.
And now I've done it. I can still pretend like I haven't had sushi before.
You can lie. We can lie.
I've never had sushi.
Never. We'll walk that back. I used to have jokes about working out, and then I got out of shape, and I don't use those jokes anymore. Because like mine's, if they look at you, they can't tell if you do or don't eat sushi. If they look at me, they like, you don't work out. Get the fuck out of here. You can tell us you work out.
That's a good point, though. I mean, I'd probably have an easier time convincing the audience that I don't work out than I have had sushi.
Yeah, you put the skinny in Skinny Bill, that's for sure.
Like, I've never had anyone come up to me after a show like, I'm calling bluff on you not working out.
Yeah.
Let me feel those things. Like, don't let them shoot you. You know,
those guns.
They pop off sometimes.
They pop. Hair trigger. That's so dumb. What's the goat of bar food? You think it's nachos? Like of all bar food, like
the goat of bar food. So
yeah, even though you may not order it, might be like. I mean, I gotta say tenders.
Tenders, yeah.
Tenders.
Everyone can go for some tenders.
Everybody.
The only reason I say nachos is because usually some places they'll do like the half and the full order.
That's good.
And a lot of times I'm looking at it like...
You don't want a whole plate of nachos.
Yeah. But then again, that's how I know it's the bar food, because a lot of times go to a bar, you're drunk, you're with friends or something, kind of maybe other comic friends. You just want to kind of knock out eating and just have a good time. So I look at the half order, I'm going to get the half. By the time the waiter comes, I'm getting the full. Because it's like, I could knock out a whole meal with the full, you know?
Yeah, that's true. I'm just not, especially chicken nachos?
Yeah.
Oh, man, forget about it.
These full order nachos are not a joke, man.
No, it'll put your dick in the dirt sometimes, depending on the place. Some people pile it up, cheese, all the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay. You write a lot of jokes. I mean, like a fuck ton of jokes. I think there's only 2 or 3 people that write more jokes than you in Atlanta. Has there been a joke that, we talked about this off camera, I think I know the answer, but has there been like a joke that you keep like trying to make work, keep coming back to, or one that like worms its way back into a set every so often, like a joke that just won't either die or you're trying to keep alive or
won't die?
Yeah, because there's sometimes a joke that every so often like it just happens to pertain to someone that if you have a joke about being white trash and you see someone who's white trash in the audience, it'll click and like, I should do that joke or something like that. But I haven't done that joke in months, like, or year or whatever, you know? Is there a joke like that you can think of?
So, off top of head, I have something similar I can think of. Like, I've had a joke that I've written. I actually wrote this joke probably 6 months ago.
Okay.
It's something that actually happened. Like, when I was growing up, I had a buddy. We'd play a lot of rock band. Mm-hmm. And his family, his home life wasn't all that great. And we were having good times. Like, I would always have a lot of fun playing rock band. But then one day, his dad, like, I guess he was like mad at him and he didn't tell me before I got there. Mm-hmm. Came down and they got into it, and his dad just kind of started hitting him with the rock band drumstick.
Oh my God.
And so the punchline I've always wanted to say is like, and that's the day I learned I wanted to play the drums. Like, you've been playing rock band all those years.
Yeah.
And this dad beats his kid with a drumstick, and you're like, I don't know, I'm just into rock now. I'm into music.
That's my catalyst.
It's like taking trauma and making it, and I've been meaning to try it, and every time I'll write it in my set, I don't know what it is. I don't know if my brain's telling me like, dude, this isn't going to be funny, don't do it, or if I'm just happen to skip it every time. But
it's like the
it never
opposite.
really makes my official set list.
And so evasive joke.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I do this thing where every month I do a November, December whole, right? I keep all my jokes from November in one
Oh, wow.
like document.
Okay.
And then I'd go to December 2022, and
You're like a white Hans Kim. That's what he did.
And every single month, that joke finds its way back in. I have my joke writing partner Matt. I'll tell him, I was like, I don't know, I'm just trying to work back in the dad beating his son with a drumstick.
that old chestnut.
You know, that old Jim. As far as what you asked though, like actual jokes I go on, I don't know, man. Maybe that Paralympics joke, like I like the first part of it. I really like I'm attached to the first part of it and it always works. But for whatever reason, I keep doing the second part of it that takes it a step further and kind of divides the crowd.
Yeah, it goes dark and pretty quick, but it's like it's not
Yeah,
off-putting.
I'm being hypothetical.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just talking about like what if a fire broke out there. And then, like you said, they tell you to stop, drop, and roll at the Paralympics. They're just gonna like all you can do is roll out of here, get out of here. We gotta roll out.
Roll.
That's the only place where you hear it different.
Just roll. That's
so it's
good.
not that the joke's not true. It's just that it might be too dark for a lot
certain
of people
to
to laugh.
And what happens is when we do mics, sometimes a lot of comics are at mics. Comics might love that joke.
Yeah.
Audience members might not, which is weird because you're like, oh, this joke is funny. But in most of the time, I'll say, most of the time, if a joke makes comedians laugh, and the comedians that you know and have heard your shit 35,000 times, if it makes them laugh, that means it's typically a good joke. And if you take that joke to a club, a brewery show, any book show, it will usually rip the room apart. But there are sometimes, and I don't know, there's no way to distinguish it. If a joke makes comics laugh, sometimes it's just like the audience will hate it because it's only for comics. There's no way to figure it out. You just have to do it.
It's called playing to the back of the room.
Playing to the back of the room. Yeah,
and it's a thing that I'm still wrestling with of if it's worth it or not.
Yeah, understand.
It definitely feels good to get laughs no matter what capacity.
And there's sometimes a joke that you like that plays the back of room that you keep in because it's just fun to say, you know? Or, you know, maybe throw in one or two is fine. I get you. Okay. That makes sense. You have obscure taste in music, man. Let me tell you. Fucking super obscure. I like it. I listen to some. I even saved some on my Spotify. I could tell you used to do a lot of drugs, and that's for sure.
Yeah.
And looking at you, who would have guessed?
Yeah.
I see you actually have a film tattoo on your arm, and so do you also have obscure, eclectic taste in movies?
That's a good question.
I know. It's like I'm a pro at this or something. Yeah. Or it's like I actually care about the person I knew. Okay, thank you.
Holy shit, dude. I was coming here expecting this not to be this.
Dick and farts. Right, yeah. No.
No, this, honestly, I think the music is about as out there as I'll get.
So you get left field on music.
Because I even tell myself a lot, like, the way I find music is not like I go on Spotify and I think I've just had, you're right, it came from a lot of acid and mushroom trips.
I can tell,
where you're sitting, you find a trippy song and then you just roll with the radio and the radio just plays, it feels like it plays to your emotions. Those first couple trips.
Right.
And then you start realizing some of this stuff is good and I'm just the type of person I'm not going to let it play and not save it. I'm going to look at the song, save it. It just took me down all these weird rabbit holes of all these artists. And nowadays, I mean, I tell myself all the time, I'm like, dude, my music, my favorite artist right now probably has 1K views on its. Its, like,
I have a few of those. Like a little, there's a little punk rock band called Burns Like Fire. And I met them and they're an Athens punk band. And I think they have a couple thousand listeners or something like that. And maybe they blew up after their album. I met the Flatliners with them, and the Flatliners are like one of the biggest punk rock bands in Canada, and they're just wildly successful.
Cool,
I fucking love them. I got to meet Chris Cresswell, and
really?
Yeah, dude, I met them all. It was great, and they actually gave me a CD of their album Cavalcade, and I didn't have any money.
Oh, wow.
And I got to drink whiskey with all of them. Wait, this was years and years ago when I was a wild youth, and it was so cool because that imprinted on me like how cool musicians are, and then also what type of music I kind of really like.
Yeah.
Because I would get lost in that, punching people, just having fun, drinking whiskey, just shaking fists. It was so much fun. So, but that's a very obscure band that led to like some weird taste. But I can see that. I'm the opposite. I go really, really odd movies, and I listen to kind of like reined in music.
Really?
So like one of my favorite movies is a movie called Six String Samurai. It's one of the best. And I just told you about a spaghetti western. It's one of my favorite. There's a Luke Wilson movie called Bong Water that I used to watch all the time. And there's like really old 80s action movies, like Nick Nolte movies, obscure fucking movies, man.
Yeah, that's the thing about film is like, a lot of the obscurity in film is highlighted, whereas in music, I haven't found that to be the case growing up. Like Donnie Darko, if I say that to anybody, I'm like, I like Donnie Darko. That's not weird to me.
No.
Right? But in music,
the hot topic of movies.
In music, the equivalent of Donnie Darko is weird to everybody.
It's nothing.
Yeah. It's nothing.
It's nothing.
It's the band Nothing, or it's a shoegaze band. It's like, I have so much trouble explaining to people what shoegaze music is. They're like, I've never even heard that word before.
I can see that.
And I tell them it's rock, they're like, that's not rock.
Rock covers a lot.
Yeah, it's like, it's ever expanding.
Yeah, that's true. You've been a fan of comedy well before performing it, I've noticed. And did that really help with your joke writing? Like being a fan of stand-up, hearing it all the time, watching comedians, how they move, how they say stuff. I would imagine it would. If someone is thinking about getting into comedy, who is a good person, like a joke writer, to study? I mean, there's a long laundry list.
I would say, off the top of my head, I would say like, for the first part of your question, I will say yes, obviously it helps, but one thing I found when I got into the comedy is like my first laughing skull went super well, and it should not have, because I had no setup punchline structure in there. You wouldn't think I had watched a lot of comedy. Like I was funny, and I think people thought naturally this guy's funny.
Yeah.
And I think I fooled the crowd enough for them not to really read between the lines there.
Sure.
But looking back, I'm like, whoa, there's no structure to these jokes, I would call them.
Yeah.
So that brings me to say probably like Jimmy Carr, because if you're going to get into like
set up punchline,
man. he's just quick, and not that you want to be that way, because I don't, but you definitely want to. I think you want to. That needs to be your foundation.
That's a really good piece of advice. Jimmy Carr is a great because he'll have one or two sentences max, and then one or two sentences that are a punchline. Usually it's a short quip, and and then. He puts on a clinic on how to deal with a heckler.
Oh yeah.
But that's because he's suave and British, and he's mean. He's so mean, but he's also so nice.
And I actually think he's more. I think he's more like more people could start with him rather than like Anthony Jeselnik per se.
I can see that. Yeah.
And like have an easier, because I think they're both dark, but I think Anthony goes a step further in a way.
Yeah, he'll take it like what is like he pretends half his family's dead for a lot of his jokes, but they're all alive. Yeah, it's true. He'll go, what is the expected dark punchline? What's one worse?
Yeah.
That's what I write. That's what he does. Like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
I saw something. I know something's coming, but what is it?
Yeah. Accessible is the word I was thinking of. Like I think Carr's material is more accessible.
It does have
to a new joke writer that maybe wants to have a filter, that maybe doesn't want to be all that. Like he's dirty, but he's not. But rather than just saying like Mark Norman, which still many people may not know about. Who aren't like surprising, but who aren't comedy fans.
He might be one of the best joke writers I've possibly ever, because he...
Same structure too, though, and arguably better, but I was trying to think accessibility, and
Jimmy Carr.
For some reason, Jimmy Carr.
Good call. That's a good call.
Yeah.
That's wise, and then you learn how to...
I don't think he's a household name. I just think I was trying to think more. I was having an accessibility competition.
No, that's understandable. No, that's a wise one. It's the only time the British win. Dude. That's usually the British win.
Yeah, it's the only time. I had to give him one W, dude. One
dirty,
W.
limey Brits. Let's say you're on death row. Scenario is you killed an audience member because they didn't like your joke about your cat. And which I know your cat is, you're close.
I'm on page with this right now.
And you're sentenced.
Might not have happened already.
You're sentenced to death, and you get a last meal. What are you having? I don't bring this question out too often because it's kind of, I think it's kind of hokey to do. But every so often I try to figure out, because you're kind of a thin guy, and I like to see. One guy ordered a black cup of coffee, and then another guy ordered like a bucket of chicken. So I'm just trying to see where you're gonna go with this, you know. So this could be like, I want 4 croutons, but you're like, I also want everything.
You know what? One more like meat, like. But you can, like, this is it. This is the last one.
This is anything.
So you don't have to.
No budget.
You don't have to play by the rules anymore.
Nothing.
Because some of my favorite food I've ever had has been appetizers.
You're just gonna go apps.
Oh, I mean, probably those Southwest egg rolls from Longhorns, dude. I could eat like 17. I would go out on 17 plates of those.
Wow.
I think that would be how I die. Like, I would just be like, keep giving me these until I pass away.
You can't fire me. I quit.
Yeah.
Okay. They are good. Those are good.
Those are just so good, man. And the sauce they give you with it. But if they don't give me the sauce, I'm gonna have to think of something else.
You get the sauce. I mean, you gotta have the sauce. You get the sauce.
All right.
Yeah. No dessert. Nothing. Just egg rolls.
For dessert.
You gotta have something.
Tiramisu.
As an Italian, that I approve this. That's as white trash and Italian. I both approve this. That's a good one.
Tiramisu. Yeah.
Tiramisu's good. Do you get shit for being a cat guy?
No.
Really?
Mainly because I keep it deep down. I don't ever tell people in public. No, I'm just kidding. No, I've never gotten any flack.
It's Atlanta.
I think it's so. We're in the South, so if you are going to get any slack, they're not going to say it to your face. A lot of times, it's going to be behind your back.
Yeah, I mean, I love him, but he's a cat guy.
Yeah, if I'm in New York and I tell somebody, they might be more direct with me about it.
Yeah, get a fucking dog.
They might tell me how they really feel about cats.
That's how it is.
I don't know though. I think the whole thing's stupid. I think people assume. I think this really is a problem. I think people assume just because you like one or that you don't like the other.
That's very true.
But I like cats and dogs.
Yeah, I like pets. I'm a pet guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an animal guy.
Yeah.
That's how you say it. Yeah, my friend Zach, he's Zach Hadlock. He's a cat guy.
Yeah.
But he's not like a pussy. So it's like, you know, and I think the stigma's kind of starting to fall apart, because I'll have. I used to follow a lot of like professional bodybuilders and powerlifters and stuff. Some of them are actually like kitten guys, like not just cats, kitten guys.
Kitten guys.
Yeah, kitten guys. Like,
so like
he'll be benching like 330.
That
and
sounds
then just
wrong.
like
when it
little
gets
kitten
to,
on his chest.
When it gets to adulthood, they just abandon it.
Well, I mean,
we're done with you now.
I imagine they keep them, but you know, it's
just like, get old enough where it can have kittens, and they're like, we'll figure out what to do with it once it has the kittens.
Oh man.
Yeah, I had to take it there, but that's where my head goes, dude. It's like. I don't know. That just sounded wrong when he said it. No, it makes sense. He's like, he's just bench pressing them, but then he still loves it when it's he's like this juiced out, roided, you know, power lifter guy. Yeah.
You know, training 6 weeks out, but then he's just like, oh, fucking nibbles. You know, it's just it's so. It just breaks. What are you gonna do? Make fun of that guy? No, he will eat you. Like it's crazy. So I think it's breaking down, so that's good. I'm an animal guy. I prefer dogs over cats, but I don't hate cats. Matter of fact, if I'm betting on animals to win a fight, cats 10 out of 10 times. I will never bet against a cat versus a dog. a cat usually tears up a dog's face, and they're just like done.
Yeah.
They're done. They're like, oh shit, I didn't expect that. And
See, I actually like cats for the reason people hate them.
Why?
I would never argue with somebody that like a cat could beat a dog in a fight, for instance, because I don't know that. You know it, but deep down I would. I wouldn't like if somebody was like, dude, my dog would kick your. I'd be like, probably would.
Yeah,
probably beat the shit out of my cat.
Yeah,
you know? But I like my cat because it's unpredictable. Like, and most cats are. Like when you get home. Like, your dumb dog's just going to walk right up to you and be like, I love you, where have you been, like, I missed you.
Your dumb dog.
Yeah.
They all are dumb. I have 6 and they're all...
Yeah, versus when you get home, your dumb cat, it's just it's still dumb. I mean, they're both dumb, but the cat, like, it's just funny because you don't know what's going to happen.
Jesus, we're in a bar fight over here. It's crazy. Yeah, I can see that being the case, like a cat kind of... either needing a minute, maybe I don't feel like it, whatever. I'm really happy to see you. I'll give you some nuzzle. Yeah. What do I expect
Sometimes
coming in?
I don't see. I get home and I don't see my cat till the next day, and I think that's so funny deep down. Like I'm like, you know, like, and I'm to the point where I'm comfortable. I know where we stand with each other, so I'm not gonna like go fish it out and like be like, you have to spend time. Like my cat's pretty loyal. It's good about it. Likes being nestled up and spending time with me. But some days it's just it's not having it. You know.
That's how I had a couple friends who were addicted to ecstasy, and when they come around, they were real lovable. But I wouldn't see them for a couple days. That's kind of how that is too.
Well, when humans have that trait, I think it's a bad trait to have. Yeah. When cats have it, I'm like,
hey, cool.
You can't speak or talk or like. Like, tell me why you're doing this. So it's kind of funny to me. Like, you could attack me at any moment, and I'll just think it's funny.
So cat's Calypso, yeah.
Yeah.
Calypso's good.
Calypso,
okay.
Yeah.
Calypso. That's a good name for a cat. It's one of my obscure bands. My favorite song from them is Calypso. I'll leave in this last question. Calypso is a type of music in the Bahamas and the Virgin Islands and stuff like that. Down Jamaica and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Have you ever been down there?
Jamaica?
Like Jamaica.
Yeah, I've been to Jamaica.
Okay. How was Jamaica?
It's fun. It's very fun.
Okay.
You know?
What's one tip to do or not do in Jamaica?
Well, I come from like a cruise background. I go on a lot of cruise ships. So that's the only way I've ever ventured out there. So a lot of times on cruises, doesn't matter which country you're really going to, this happens a lot. You'll get off the ship and you're kind of going to be bombarded by people who want to sell you stuff. Like, and you can bargain with them and do all that. And I'm not saying don't buy the stuff, but push through all that as quickly as you can, because a lot of times if you're on a cruise, you're limited to the amount of time you have in the country. And Jamaica is really one of the coolest countries you can go to. If you have an excursion or something planned to do, like a ATV tour or something along those lines, for instance.
Okay.
So just, you can buy stuff, you can bargain all you want, but just know that...
A little haggling.
And it's not their fault, they just need the money, but you just know that there's a time for that, and then there's a time for what you really need to get there and do. And a lot of things, I think the smart thing to do is to just go do your activity, come back if you have any extra time.
A little haggle time.
Yeah, spend time at the shops.
That'd be cool, because then you can bring back a cool little piece, and that's like usually one of a kind. That's a pretty cool thing.
Souvenirs, you definitely.
I'm a souvenir guy.
Yeah, you definitely need to have
trinkets, a cup. I'm a coffee mug guy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a shot glass guy, obviously, but like a coffee mug or like a little bracelet, a little kind of thing. I like that kind of stuff.
It's like the pick your poison thing, though. You work real hard for a day. And so you feel like you deserved your poison that night.
Yeah.
Like your alcohol, your weed, whatever you do. You go to this country, you actually explore it, have a good time, and you feel like you deserve the souvenir. That's how my brain works in the country.
Hey, it's a reward system that is very simple. It works out. So my last question is, do you have any questions for me? That's what I've started asking my guests this. Do you have any questions for me? Knowing me, seeing my comedy, seeing this show, questions about my life, anything like that. Questions for me.
Well, I'm going to go to sobriety first.
Okay.
It's just fascinating to me. Getting sober is there's nothing new about that. It happens all the time. But your story is interesting about like being young, relatively young. at 24. So,
yeah,
37-ish now?
Yeah, maybe? I'll be 37 at the end of this month. So it's been a long time where I just put that whole thing on pause. I describe it more like Ron White, I think, said this one day, and I felt it. Because if a man has a certain number of drinks in his lifetime to drink, I've already ran through my tickets, you know? It's like a kid, if you hand him a 20 at Dave & Buster's, and it's like, hey, this has to last you 3 hours. He'll come back in 17 minutes. He's like, I'm done. Well, what do you have to show for it? I got these tickets and that's it. And then, well, you don't have anything to do for over 2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. So you're just sitting there. That's kind of how my life is right now. But, you know.
Ron White set a good example, I think, for everybody, too. The way how his whole, people, I think a lot of comics don't want to quit because they feel like their whole identity is created around the alcohol and the jokes and their hangs and all that. Yeah. And Ron just said, hold my beer, or hold my non-alcoholic beer. With what he did by just quitting being like the staple of an alcohol comedian and quitting it and switching to weed, which I think is so funny. Now he's just a hippie guy.
Yeah, I mean that's
growing his hair out and
whatever works. You know, and just going on Kill Tony, making fun.
But 24, man, and you go 13 years, like
that's a lot.
Like I know with cigarettes, it's like 6. For me, it was like I never really felt free till like a year. I say that and the urge even is random because if you keep the drinking but you quit the cigarettes, everyone knows how that goes. Like you're just gonna have some drunk nights where you're like, maybe I could, you know?
There are times where
a year, 2 years. How long did it take where you're like, I can go out I could have people hammering them around me?
Oh God.
And see, that's the thing too. Maybe those people become less fun to hang out with.
I'm gonna say year 5.
Year 5? Wow.
Yeah, 4 or 5. I mean, it's different for each person. Yeah. But honestly, where I didn't really. I was kind of a recluse for a long time, and then I started venturing. I'm like, I gotta live my life, man. I can't just let that kind of hold me back. But you know, apart from, you know, what I used to have was like a couple nights, years ago, a couple nights here and there, and it would just always lead to something that I would just get blackout drunk, fight a cop, you know, have sex with some giant girl who looks like Ray Lewis or whatever, you know, whatever you do, whatever happens. And then
at least you didn't do what Ray Rice did.
No, just knocking
just
broads
knock
out.
Her straight out.
No, I can't do that. No, it's quote Daniel Delano, be a fair fight. Yeah.
So I didn't really wake up until I punched a girl in an elevator. That's the day I punched that girl in that elevator. I just said I gotta sober up and.
It was little nights that would always lead. The fights and
thing, that's a common trend I hear though, like with people that sober up. I think that's almost like
can't do it.
It doesn't sound like the safest way to learn you need to quit, but I'd rather get in a fight with a cop than hit a woman.
Because you know, they got body armor. They're usually men.
Yeah, they're usually kind of ready. They know they're going to get in at least one fight.
Woman, they just got a bra. Like, what do you do? What do you got? Nothing. You got nothing. I would feel like shit if that ever happened. Now, luckily, I've never had to do that or done that or whatever. Got that point, but it just takes a while, and then you just realize like, oh shit, there's food, there's hobbies, there's you know, coffee, and you know.
I was going to be real depressed if you're like, well, Alex, I'm battling with it right now. I wanted to order a drink this whole. I'm like, dude, this sounds miserable.
Just break my sobriety on camera.
Dude, if you said that, I would just be like, I'm never getting sober. That's a miserable.
No, it's not as. I mean, there are times.
I think it would be, and also, would you have ever done stand up if you hadn't? Because a lot of alcohol.
You know, that's a good question.
Keeping drinking and blacking out, or maybe you do somehow get together and you moderate a little better over your lifespan, but still, alcohol can kind of block.
I mean, who's to say if I mean, in years from now, I'll kind of
yeah, but you're safe now. But like maybe that choice helped you start comedy eventually.
I mean, it led to. I mean, my entire life changed in my like 23, 25 around that area, and then since then, I think I've just kind of worked on growing and being mature and being an adult and doing all the things that come with that. And then with that just came what I like to do. I'm going to do what I like to do. I can't always do what I want to do, but doing what you like when you can is very, very important. Hobbies. I have a lot of hobbies. Like I play Dungeons and Dragons. I try and go to the gym a lot. I ski. I play golf. I have all these things. Comedy it was started as a hobby, but now it's like, oh shit, this has got some legs. And I can't say that I wouldn't have, but I for sure know that every little path led to whatever this point was. And I mean, if there's a God, I don't know what his plan is, but I'll if it involves me fucking doing comedy and either make a little bit of money, making people happy, getting to meet famous comics and local comics and make friends in this realm of life, I'll take it every day of the week. So
nice, dude.
Yeah, and luckily there's a fair amount of sober comics out here, and they're doing pretty well for the most part.
It'd be weird if you got into a comedy scene and every comic was like, sober.
Like,
get out of here,
loser. I wouldn't have booked you.
There's a sober open mic down the street.
Yeah, there's a dry. It's just called AA.
They do them at the pizza places.
I wanted to put on. I wanted to actually put on a sober show.
Yeah.
It's tough because some comics
you know what's
were
funny?
sober.
I think a comic would rather have a sober. It's not even that weird of a realization. We would rather have a sober show than a show that tells us what we can and can't say.
Yeah.
You know, if you're doing a show, you would almost rather I'm not going to indulge tonight, fine. But if you're going to tell me not to do my hitting that prostitute chapter, whatever. I'm trying to think of something, but then
true.
I'll be damned. I'm still doing that joke.
That's where I draw the line. That's very true. Yeah, that's very true. Maybe we'll start a sober mic. Who knows?
Yeah. So I think it's way more.
We both hosted before,
and it's cool because and I'm not even talking about clean mics. Like Murray has that clean mic. I think it's fun as a challenge, but it always does suck when you have the person who has the poster with all the rules or whatever on. I haven't seen much of that in Atlanta, but
that's pretty good. I mean, I'd say if you're trying, there's one or two that you kind of really got to be squeaky, but and it does lead to more.
And fortunately, I don't
stuff.
have a lot of sex or misogynistic material.
You're not too vulgar.
Yeah,
I mean, you get a little dark, but
I
that's
get dark.
about it.
That's
about it, though.
Yeah, I seem to obsess with the killing babies or dead baby jokes or
and I actually
Paralympics jokes. Or,
cripple stuff. I could see because dry bar comedy has a lot of that. Ironically. And they don't drink at all. It's a bunch of Mormons. And there's in comedy, there's blue material, which is what we all typically do. Yeah. There's clean material, and then there's Mormon clean. So clean is you can probably get away with, saying shit or ass or vagina. Mormon clean you can't. But what doesn't always overlap in that is a dark theme where roll. A joke like that would actually be dry bar approved, which is weird because it's usually darker than someone who's on a clean or blue set might say. Mm-hmm. Which is because if you have a joke about wiping your ass and you're talking about shit on your hand or something like that, that's vulgar, but it's not as dark as making fun of someone who can't walk. Yeah. So it's it's this weird. There's this weird what's acceptable, what's not. We all know this is funny, but A, B, or C is not what we want to push. It's just there's so many different ways to be about comedy and funny. Dry bar is, I don't know, maybe I might flourish in dry bar.
Have you ever had a joke where you were like, I have to drop this because it's not like maybe it works all the time, but you're like, it's just not me. Like I feel like not dirty.
That's a good, yeah.
Because I've had a joke like that before. I like as dirty as a comic as people would say, like I'm edgy and always testing the limit. I have jokes that make me feel dirty sometimes, and I have to drop them.
That's a good. That's really wise. I wrote a joke about how I'm too short for the KKK, and I know. Sounds like it'd be a funny joke, but like I tested it a couple different ways, and I can't make it feel. It's not like I feel so dirty saying it. It's just something that like I thought of it, but it's just not after the type of jokes
and also,
that work for me.
I promise you, one day you might even find something where you'll be like, oh my God, maybe I'm too short, but I'm also too short for this thing. And then you're like, it's just so much better, maybe. I don't know. Like, maybe so you still have hope for that.
We should try out for ISIS or something.
Yeah, you could say I'm too short for ISIS. You know,
ISIS is, okay. I mean, see, this is what we do. This is what we talked about workshopping.
That's the premise, basically, is do you think ISIS has a height requirement? To get in, like you have to be this tall to ride.
Hey, they're like, we're ISIS, not HISIS, I gotcha. Well, that's it. Do you have anything else for me? Any questions? No, that's it. Wrap it up.
We can wrap it up, yeah.
Wrap it up. Well, what do you got to plug? Do you have any shows, dates, anything coming up?
Well, I have a show at Dancing Schools this Friday.
Go there.
That'll be at 8. I'd be there at 8:30 if I were you.
Okay.
And let's see. Then I have Gate City show at the end of the month.
Nice. Okay. Perfect. We'll push that.
And just look out for the date on that. I'm pretty sure it's. I think it's the 26th, but
and we can follow you at Alex Turner Comedy?
Yeah, Alex Turner Comedy.
Alex Turner Comedy. All right. Well, that's it, man. I appreciate you coming out.
All right, sweet,
It was a good one. It was a good one.